You were not meant to be a slave to the grind. You were not meant to trade your life force for money. You can escape gravity. You can unlock your life. You got this. Let's go.
Hello and welcome to Unlock Your Life. I'm your host, Jennings Smith. Super glad you're here today. Today is Friday and we're talking about if people don't need you, then they leave you. If people don't need you, then they will leave you. And I'm mostly talking about business here, although I would say it definitely transitions into your family life too, as well. If you as a spouse stop giving any effort, it's going to be hard for your wife or your husband or whatever to stick around too long if you're producing no effort. So if people don't need you, they leave you. So if you don't want people to leave you, if you want people to be dependent on you and you want to get compensated for that, then how do you make that happen? I'm in real estate, and in multifamily real estate, there are a couple of facets that everybody needs, right? You have the loan sponsor, the person that's helping you get the loan. You have capital raisers, people that can raise money, bring the down payment to the deal. They can attract investors. They've got an investor base, or they personally have money themselves. You have deal source, right? People that are connected with wholesalers, people that are connected with brokers that can find these off-market deals and bring them to you. That's a very valuable component. You also have property managers. You also have contractors who are doing renovations, fixing the properties up. And you also have like boots on the ground, somebody that's maybe local to the job and is coming by every week and giving report on the job, and can be a vital part of the deal if you don't live local to that deal. I buy a lot of deals out of market and I need a boots on the ground person. So I want you to think though about your job, your skill set, what you have, where you are today. And if you're not happy with the compensation that you're receiving, right? If you're looking at your bank account and you're not making the money that you want to make, whatever level that's at, and you're not being compensated in the way you are, that number is a direct correlation of the amount of value you're bringing to the marketplace, the amount of skills that you have. So if you have a highly developed set of special skills that are extremely difficult, you solve a difficult problem, it's impossible to replace you, or there's very few people that can replace you, and you have a large audience, you solve the problem for a large amount of people, or it's very valuable to solve that problem, then you're going to get compensated well. Versus if your job is easy, anybody can do it, it's easy to replace you, you're not solving that big of a problem, well, you're not going to get compensated that well. I'm going to break it down here. I have a cleaning crew that comes to my house every week. My wife hired this cleaning crew. It's a couple of ladies. They come in, they clean the house. They do a great job. I'm super grateful to them. And I think it costs $85 or $100. I'm not sure how much it costs, but it's not much. It's like $100 or less to clean the house. And it's a big house. They're here for a couple of hours. There's 3 of them. So yeah, you're talking $100 for 3 people for 2 or 3 hours is really not very much money. However, they're not solving a massive problem, right? We could do it ourselves if we had to in a pinch. It's not all that difficult, right? 2 arms, 2 legs, and you can push a vacuum, you can sweep, you can wipe stuff down, you can clean. Now, whether you're really, really good at it or not, I'm not saying, but it's not that hard. And then easily replaced. Pretty much anybody can do it. I mean, I'm just being brutally honest. Okay, so that job is never going to command a high level of pay. I think back to, I had a custom home construction company. We had taken a project all the way through the planning phase. We had planned out everything. I mean, we were clearing this guy's lot. We had his plans done. We had everything quoted out, everything decided. And the day before we're going to start, he fires me. So he calls me up and is like, dude, you're fired. You're taking too long. I wanted this project to already start. And so he fires me. And I'm like, really set back by this because I think it was like a $600,000 or $700,000 house, but I didn't make myself irreplaceable. And he found another builder who just stepped right in my place, picked up the plans, built the house. The house looks pretty much the same as if I had built it. I'm not going to lie. That builder did a good job. And I got replaced because there's a lot of competition. And so I never really made a whole lot of money as a mid-level custom builder. I renovated kitchens, bathrooms. I built decent sized custom homes. but I wasn't in the top 1% where the really, really rich, wealthy people had to have me as their exclusive builder. And so I was easily replaceable. So I had to be very competitive with what I charged, really couldn't charge too much. And so because of that, I was easily replaced and I never made a whole lot of money. You want to make more money, you've got to increase your skills. And at the end of the show, I'm going to talk about how to make that happen. I'm going to break that down in a couple easy steps, and it's not too hard to do to move towards getting paid more, being more valuable, and being irreplaceable. So partnerships, they only work when both members are needed. Partnerships will only work when both members are very needed. Now, if one member isn't pulling his or her weight, or isn't really needed, or there's a duplication of effort, or there's a duplication of personality and skill set, I think that it can go along for a little while, but long term, that relationship will start to falter and will start to fail. So I'm in a partnership with my cousin, Yaden. Yaden and I, we owned a property management company together. Now we own a bunch of real estate together. We own an education company together, My First Million in multifamily. And so we do a lot of stuff together. And this partnership works because both people are needed. We have differing skill sets, number one. But secondly, and I think this is even more important, we're both committed to building skills and getting better, because I want Yaden to need me. I know if Yaden doesn't need me, Yaden will leave me. And if I don't need Yaden, then over time, am I going to continue to do things with Yaden? And I hate to be so crass about it, and I definitely would consider myself a loyal person, but I'm trying to speak the truth to you guys. I'm trying to be authentic and tell you not the niceties, but the way that I have seen the world work in the many, many partnerships I've been in and the many partnerships that I've seen fall apart or work. So I want to be irreplaceable. I want to be irreplaceable, so I have to be constantly pushing the envelope and pushing my skills, getting better, and becoming to the point where Yaden would be insane to want to break up the partnership with me. And I would be insane to want to break up the partnership with Yaden. And if we continue to do that, then I think we're going to be able to do great things. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, there's skill sets, right? Yaden is more skilled with the technical stuff, operational stuff, and he is constantly looking for new softwares, better systems to do stuff, ways to streamline our payment processing and our platforms that we're pushing out our information on, our email system. He just switched over our whole email system from Aweber to something else. I don't even remember what he switched it over to, but apparently it's way better. And I know myself, I would have stayed with Aweber for the rest of my life. I never would have even thought about using a different platform for email. But Yaden is constantly tinkering and wanting to find the best type of platform to use that. As far as for me, right, my goal and role is I am more of the front end sales person. So I'm attracting new sales, I'm attracting new leads, I'm attracting new people into our education program, for one. And I'm also like the guy that is handling the more difficult situations. So if there's a unhappy customer, if there's somebody that we have to fire, or something that we have to do, or we have to negotiate a difficult deal, we have to push back, that's my role. Yaden doesn't like to do that. He isn't good at that, doesn't want to do that. And so I step in and do that because I know that that makes me more valuable to him. And when he steps in and is like, all right, yes, I'm going to handle the K1s, I'm going to handle the taxes, I'm going to handle some of this back end stuff. It's like, oh, dude, thank God for Yaden, right? Yaden's saving my life. I'm super glad that Yaden is my partner. And so this process of making yourself invaluable is extremely powerful. Okay, so in a construction company, you have carpenters, and I would say the carpenter would be in the hierarchy of difficulty and value and pay. The carpenter is the bottom. Then you have a project manager, right? The project manager is over the subcontractors, he's over the carpenters. And so they're above him, they're more valuable. And then you have the salesperson, right? Leading the sales, talking with clients, bringing revenue in the door. And then you have the owner of the company. And so when you think about how easy is it to replace a carpenter versus your top salesperson, It's a lot more difficult to replace that salesperson. If that salesperson's out there knocking down $600,000, $1 million custom homes, signing $300,000 kitchen renovations, just connects with the clients, has this book of business, has this pipeline of leads, and is just a selling machine, he or she is going to be a lot more difficult to replace than the guy that's picking up boards on the job site and throwing them in the dumpster, right? And the same thing, the project manager who is running solid projects and doing his job very, very, very well is a lot more valuable than the carpenter laborer as far as monetarily wise, but not as highly compensated as the person that is bringing all the sales in the door, because that person is keeping the business alive and pushing the business forward. So something that I say to people who are young and getting out there and they want to make money and they want to start investing and they want to set themselves up with a good lifestyle, sales is a great way to go because there's no cap and you can make yourself extremely valuable to the company that you're working for because they're making a lot of money off you. You're valuable. And so they're willing to share a piece of the pie because you're bringing in revenue. And so it's a great way to get started, make a decent amount of revenue, and then you can start investing. You can start getting in passive income, real estate, other businesses, whatever you want to do. But if you're 20 years old, I mean, sales is a crucible. Sales is going to build metal in you, and it's going to make you see how the market directly values the effort and the skills that you have. And if you're not very good at sales, you are not going to make very good money. And if you're great at sales, you're going to make phenomenal money. Okay, so going back to my initial story with real estate, there's a hierarchy there. You've got boots on the ground, you've got contractors, you've got property managers, you've got deal sourcing people, you've got capital raisers, money people, and then you've got loan sponsors. And I would say loan sponsor is the top of the hierarchy, right? This person has multi-millions of dollars in the bank. They've got tons of real estate. They've got experience. When they're signing on the loan, when they're signing on a $5 million, $10 million loan, the bank is approving that loan. That loan sponsor is very vital because without them, there is no deal, right? Unless you're paying cash or you're getting seller financing. But without them, there's no deal. I don't care if you have the down payment, the contractor, property manager, the boots on the ground, all the money raised. If you don't have that loan sponsor, there is no deal. So that person can command equity, and they're very, very important to the deal. And they're hard to replace because even though there are a lot of people that maybe have wealth like that, they don't have a personal relationship with you. They don't trust you necessarily that they're going to sign on your debt. And then the next hierarchy would be the capital raiser, the person that either has the down payment or can find people that can bring the down payment. Everybody needs money, and for whatever reason, people are scared to ask for money, to put themselves out there, to raise capital. And so there's a lot of people that they're willing to do everything else except for that piece. And so if you bring that piece, it's super valuable. Deal sourcing, also very difficult and also very valuable. To cold call brokers, that's uncomfortable. To build these relationships, to find off market deals, to know how to underwrite, to know if something even is a good deal. And if you bring that deal to somebody that has money and a loan sponsor or somebody that can raise money, you're going to be a part of that deal. You're going to get compensated. You're going to be a part of the team. And so that is a super valuable piece. Then you're moving down the hierarchy now. Now you're talking property manager. A great property manager is vital to the success of a project. However, let's be real here. There's a lot of property manager companies out there, and they all want to work with you. And so it's kind of a dime a dozen that you can find multiple property managers that are going to do a good job. Now, once you find a good one, you're probably going to stick with them, and they are valuable and they do get compensated, but they don't make the money that the loan sponsor and the capital raisers and the deal source people are making. They don't. I mean, there's guys that have sourced deals for me and, instantly making hundreds of thousands of dollars off of one deal because it's such a great deal. Property manager is not making that because the value just isn't there. And then boots on the ground or, contractor, same sort of thing. A good contractor to renovate your property is important, but there's a lot of contractors out there. And I say this as a former contractor, right? We're a dime a dozen. There's a lot of us out there and a lot of us are good and a lot of us are cheap or a lot of us are going to compete on price. Then you move even further down the hierarchy to your boots on the ground person, right? This is sort of like you got 2 arms, 2 legs. You can show up. This is kind of on par with the cleaning crew, right? You show up and You walk the property, you make a report, you send it to the ownership group. It's not that hard. Why am I going to give you a large amount of equity or any equity in the deal for that? I can hire somebody for $20 an hour to do that, right? It's not a valuable piece because you don't have a whole lot of skills that you're bringing to the equation. So if you are watching this or listening to this and you are not paid well and your skill set is not high, right? Like maybe you're working in a low level service industry or whatever, it may be uncomfortable to hear this, right? It may not be what you want to hear, but it's the truth. And so you can either reject it and be like, well, this isn't fair and what I do is important and it's needed and I'm proud of what I do. That's fine. And if you're happy doing that and you're happy with the compensation that you're getting, then fine. But the way to get more compensation is not to go out there and demand that McDonald's pay you more, because McDonald's just builds machines to replace you. They don't care about you. They care about the value that you bring. And if you were leading McDonald's and you were the regional manager over 500 McDonald's, like they would pay you because it's a skill and it's a difficult thing to handle. And it took you a while to build that skill and you're not easy to replace. If you're the cashier at McDonald's or flipping the burgers, it's pretty easy to replace you. Like just be real. Be honest with yourself. If you want to get into real estate and yet you're not willing to build skills, invest in yourself, put in the time and effort to learn underwriting, capital raising, calling brokers, and building your network, if you just want to be the boots on the ground guy, or maybe you already have construction skills and you're like, I just want to manage the construction, it's going to be very difficult for you. And I'm going to prove it to you right now, because 3.5 years ago, I went to a conference. And at this time, I was a contractor, and there was another guy at this conference who, he wasn't a contractor, but his thing was he wanted to be boots on the ground. He wanted to connect with people and be the boots on the ground person. And I was thinking, oh, I can be the contractor, right? I can be a contractor. I can partner with people. I can bring value in these multifamily deals. And I quickly realized people are not willing to give up equity, too much equity or any equity to the contractor, because they can just hire a contractor, pay him his rate, and they don't have to give up any equity. So where am I bringing the value? So I shifted. I said, okay, what I've got to do is I got to source deals and I've got to raise money. That's what I'm going to focus on. Forget construction. That isn't the future. That isn't the way for me to make money. I need to move into this field, right? Because that's more difficult. And that's what I did. And as I did that, over the next 3 years, we closed 1,000 apartment units and 500 self-storage units, amassed $63 million in property, raised over $7 million in cash. And I'm a 25% owner of that. And Yaden's another 25% owner in that. So we did fabulously well because we attacked the hard things. We attacked the hard, difficult problems, and we got compensated. And the guys that stuck with the construction track and the boots on the ground track, I know a couple of them, they're not in many deals or any deals. They have not built any significant wealth. They have not made any traction because their problem was simple to solve and other people were able to solve that without them, right? If people don't need you, they leave you. If people don't need you, they leave you. If McDonald's can leave their employees, they will. If they can figure out a way not to need them, they will. And so you have to be constantly innovating yourself, constantly stacking your skills, constantly becoming far, far more valuable than you are right now. One way to do that is not only dealing in information, but in dealing with bringing a culture, bringing a source of deals, bringing people together. So I have a product called the Deal Room. The Deal Room is my mentoring group, and a lot of mentoring groups and a lot of educational stuff and courses are just information. And I built a course. I built a $2,000 course on how to buy multifamily A to Z, and that was how I started. I started selling it because I didn't want to be a mentor, a coach. I didn't want to be that involved with people, right? I didn't want to work that hard, honestly. I was lazy. And so some people bought it and most people didn't. And the people that bought it got decent results, the ones that applied it, and the ones that didn't apply it didn't get any results. And so my overall results were mediocre at best. I'll be honest, because I wasn't willing to make my product extremely, extremely effective because I didn't want to work that hard. I didn't want to get that good. I just wanted to build the course and be done. But as I saw that in the demand, people came to me and said, I went through your course, but I want a ongoing coaching. I want ongoing mentoring. And so we formed the Deal Room. And we formed the deal room. It was a small monthly charge, but what it did was it built a community. And then we figured out ways to help people implement, help hold them accountable, put them in small groups, assign them team leaders, lay out metrics. These are the things that you need to be doing every week. If you send out this many offers per week, over time, you'll get a deal within 6 months. If you do this, you're going to raise capital. If you do this, you're going to build relationships with brokers, and building this network, and also like a competitive environment of people wanting to win in front of their peers and be recognized. And so we move beyond just information and my skill only being the ground one. Like it was just like being the boots on the ground guy or the contractor. Like I moved beyond just the course into a full blown, this is a track that if you run on this, it will work and we'll be there alongside of you every step of the way. And is it much harder? Absolutely. I mean, we're underwriting their deals for them live. We're answering their questions. We're spending hours and hours in the deal room working with all these people. And it's a heck of a lot more than just building a course, selling it to them one time, but it's also a lot more effective and we're making a lot more money. We're being compensated a lot better there. And so I am consistently looking at the deal room and thinking, if these people don't need me, they're going to leave me. So how do I continue to push the envelope? How do I continue to bring that value to the deal room? And so, some of the things we've done is learning how to raise capital for businesses, raising capital outside of just real estate, how to start funds. I've got a fund going now that's a pretty high risk fund, but it's got fabulous returns, and we're kind of bringing that opportunity to them. We're bringing deal flow. We're partnering with them. We're sponsoring. That's bringing value. We're introducing them and getting them cut rate discounts on software for sourcing deals. We're also building them social media tools. Now we're building them social media videos for them that they can repurpose under their own branding and they don't have to make it, right? And so that's incredibly valuable, so that the price of it is just really not the price. It's worth so much more than what they're paying. That's my goal for the deal room. So here we go. All right, I'm to the end of the show. And I want to give you some concrete examples of how to apply this. So if you're in a business, this is going to be fairly easy for you to do if you have your own business. If you're not, what's a business that you want to be in or get involved with? Who are people or partnerships that you want to get involved with? And you can apply it in that way. But what I want you to do is write down, what is the outcome that your clients desire? What is your outcome that your clients desire? For me, my clients in the deal room, the outcome they desire is they want to get their first multifamily deal done. They want to close a 40-unit multifamily apartment or self-storage deal or whatever. They want to do that, and they want to do it without using any of their own money. They want to raise the capital, and they want to get the deal across the finish line and get passive income. That's what they want. That's their desire. That's their outcome. Then I wrote down, what are all the crazy things? No ideas are wrong. What are the things that I could help them ensure their success? It was like foolproof, down to like I could post on their behalf for social media. I could move in their house. I could live with them, and I could coach them day in, day out. We could work on this 8 hours a day, right? I could connect them with all of my network, my loan sponsors, my capital raisers, my investors. I could plug them into all these different people. I could hold them accountable. I could do the deal sprints. I could put them in small groups. I could put them in small teams. And I wrote down all these ideas. And you're going to have ideas, and you're going to have ideas that are going to be insanely expensive, that wouldn't make sense to do. You're going to have stuff that would take so much time and effort from you that you would have no life, right? That has no scale. If I go and live with somebody to help them succeed in multifamily, I bet you they would succeed in multifamily, but I can only help one person, right? I would have to abandon my family, and I'm not doing that. So I've got to find the sweet spot. I've got to find where those two things cross. What is something that is really effective? Maybe it's hard and expensive to do it one time, but then it has scale. It's not hard to implement a long term. So, for example, in social media, I wanted to help people with social media. I wanted them to be able to copy what I'm doing. And so I wrote a 27-page book, Social Media Secrets. And it was like A to Z, how I built a 24,000 person Facebook group, how I attract private money, how I position my stories, the psychology behind raising capital using social media. And I just documented everything I did, and I put it out into the deal room. So it took me weeks to write this thing, and then we sent it in, we edited it. It cost money to make it. But then once it's made, it is very scalable, right? If somebody joins the deal room, boom, they get this guide, they enjoy it, they use it, they put it to work, and it's a value add that I don't have to do over and over and over and over again. Same thing with the social media. I've geared some of my videos to be talking towards investors, right? A limited partner in a real estate deal that maybe wants to invest 50 grand, $100,000 into a real estate deal. Now my little 1-minute clip videos, I'm gearing some of them towards that avatar, and the people repurpose that media towards the avatar. And so while they're building their own brand and they're making their own videos and they're making their own posts, now they have filler, so they can be at least posting consistently 4, 5, 6 times a week. 2 or 3 of them are them. 2 or 3 of them are me, or generic information like whiteboard videos, whatever. But it's helping them get traction and get what they want. Because if I can get them what they want, then I can get what I want. And building that community. So what is the desire of your client? Who are you trying to help? Or if you're trying to partner with somebody, right? If somebody's trying to break into a multifamily deal, you'd be like, wow, if I got really good at raising money and I could bring 500 grand, $1 million to somebody's deal, I bet you somebody would let me in their deal. I bet you they'd want to have a conversation with me. If I cold called brokers and off-market apartment deals and I found a smoking deal, I bet you somebody would be interested in partnering with me and helping me raise the money and close this deal, and I could get a piece of that deal. Those are the kind of things, like those are problems that I have, right? I want to find a great deal. I want to find my next smoking home run deal. And there's a million other people like me, right? I want to have capital to invest in my deals. So you got to find out, what are the problems that these people, your customers or the people you want to partner with, what are they having and how can you solve them, versus solving the simple problem, the easy problem, or the problem that you think that they have that maybe really isn't even their problem. I have people that come to me that they want to raise capital from me, and that's not my problem. I have a network where I have a ton of people that want to invest in my deals. That's not my problem. I don't need that, right? Now, a great off-market deal, absolutely. I need that. I'm happy to give up equity or pay for that. And so solving the right problem. But there's a lot of people that they do need money. They don't have the network that I have or the capital raising piece of what they do. And so they've got deal flow, but they're looking for a money partner. They're looking for someone to help them raise. So finding that sweet spot and continuing to innovate. And remember, you will be compensated in the exact proportion to the value that you're bringing to the marketplace. And if people don't need you and don't need your services, or it's easy to replace you, or the problem that you're solving is not that difficult to solve, you're just not going to get compensated very well. So, guys, that's what I got for you today. If you're enjoying the show, hit me up on iTunes, leave me a review. It means a lot to me. I read every single one of them. If you want to connect with me, shoot me a message. Shoot me a message on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever platform you're listening to me on or watching me on. I try to connect and answer all those messages. I'd love to hear what you got going on. And if I can help you in any way, I will. So make it a great week. Don't forget to unlock your life. Peace.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.